Let me get into the thing.
Like I said, Agent won't be joining us, sadly.
Yeah, no, he knocked himself out so fucking much that he's still in the fucking tower, and we're never gonna see him again until he wakes up.
We'll see him again someday.
He's gonna wake up, it's like years later. He's like, what happened? Bro, World War III was crazy as hell.
I can't believe you missed the entire World War III arc. It's like, what?
Yeah, man, there's some aliens and shit, and then like the Mexicans came along, and then suddenly like Men in Black came out of everywhere, and then war happened.
So there are aliens.
Okay, just because I bring up aliens doesn't mean there's going to be aliens, alright?
Aliens.
I'm so dead set on Destiny right now that's the only thing I can think of. It's that and the Hive, alright? Don't come at me with that shit.
Oh, we woke the hive.
We woke the Hive. Bee noises intensifies.
Oh no.
Don't give Respawn ideas.
Listen,
But-
I don't
Black
need to
Widow
give
I'm
Respawn
already
ideas.
giving it-
Respawn knows shit, alright? He's all seeing.
Sadly, Oblivion, with the drawings I've been drawing up, that has been giving him ideas.
I mean,
So it was you who's been feeding him.
I might have already had something involving a hive of sorts.
I knew it.
It'll be fine.
Where's Peter Dinklage when you need him?
If
No,
I
he'll-
die, on my will, I'd like it to be stated, it was Uggie's fault.
Oh,
No!
Wow.
yikes.
But, for example, there was that recent pitch I did with the underwater scene, and Mr. Reese would say, darn, there's no large bodies of water. I can't implement that.
Well,
Thank
one's coming again.
Yes. My response was just, darn it, there's nothing nearby. There's nowhere nearby I could actually put some giant sea beast.
Giant sea.
We don't need Cthulhu up here.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, it could just be a giant Alaskan bullworm just roaming around in the forest
Oh my
underground.
god.
I have a question I want to ask you three
Hmm?
Oh,
Yeah?
while
hate-
you're here. I would also ask Agent, but he's obviously not here right now, and honestly, I can probably guess at what his vote would be anyways.
so open book. Damn.
The question is this. So you guys recently solved a mystery, hooray. You managed to figure out the mountain song thing, and that's not going to be a problem anymore. Probably.
For now.
And if it is a problem again, you guys know exactly where to go and who to talk to and be like, no, stop. And he'll be like, oh, sorry.
Stop
You know,
your
so
vape.
that one is now a non-issue for the most part. So my question is, do you guys want me to allow you time to solve the other mysteries that are currently on the field? Because if you remember, we had 4 out at a time.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we're currently down to 3. So the question is, do you guys want me to give you time to solve those 3? Or do you want me to now put a new 4th one onto the field to replace the one you guys have solved? Which system would you prefer?
I think it depends. It depends on what type of mysteries are on the table and such like that. Personally.
Make it a recount.
So
I'll do a quick recount of the difficulties, but not, of course, the exact ones, because
Yeah,
even giving you the titles I gave them might give them away.
I can actually give you, so the mysteries we have on the table right now, Kuma, is Eleanor Rigby, the gloves, actually, are the dreams separate, or are they basically, oh, and the shadow boxer,
Yeah,
Dreams?
there's...
not dreams, gloves, Eleanor Rigby, and shadow boxer. Those are the 3.
Yeah. Because the weird dreams with the yellow eyes were part of the mountain song.
Yeah.
If
Also,
you want...
Jack, and don't give him ideas.
Yeah.
No more ideas.
So currently we've got 2 kind of like low difficulty ones, 1 higher difficulty one, and no middle difficulty ones. Because what we had before was 2 low difficulty, 1 high difficulty, and 1 middle difficulty.
Hmm.
I'm fine with what we have for right now.
All right.
Just because if we want to do a new one, then so be it. But I mean, we're, in all honesty, we're never gonna know which one we're going after at a time. We could be tackling all three tonight, or going after one specifically.
With
So,
I think right now we're good with the 3 we have. Again, for me, it kind of depends on the mysteries that are on the table currently for me. Because seeing how there's still that slight concern with Eleanor.
Yeah.
I think we're still kind of wrapping our head around that and the Shadow Boxer
Yeah.
to a good extent. Cause of the factor of just like how I don't know actually, just personally thinking it now, cause I don't know. I truthfully don't know.
Yeah. I'm currently just looking at some of my options and trying to see if there's any that
I think if
wouldn't be too much of a pain for you guys, since it seems like you would rather not have anything too large roaming around right now, considering you're already dealing with Eleanor.
I was gonna say, if we'll play it by ear. If we do tend to accidentally or
Why are you
purposely
speaking
solve a mystery,
quietly?
I am currently in my kitchen.
He's also very scared of what I'll do.
Well, no, it's because there's pizza on the table. My dad's on a 12 kill streak in God, and I'd rather not disturb him.
Oh God.
The timing with food wise with all of us.
Don't you judge me.
I think. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to activate 2 of the smaller ones, because both of them would have been directly affected by what you guys are currently up to. They're not going to be that much of a threat. I'll give you that much now.
Mm.
You say that, if by some miracle we're gonna end up making it a threat. In some way.
I mean, I have hopes for this group. The group that I used to run for, no, they would immediately turn anything into a threat and try to fight it. But I feel like you guys will do the smarter thing and not
How?
make
We're
enemies out of
kids.
things.
We're middle school kids.
Yeah, I have a feeling you guys won't make enemies of things automatically, unlike some people.
For fighting the bullies, we might make it a threat.
Anyways. So I think that'll be good. We'll go with that for now. And going forward, just whenever you guys solve a mystery, I'll pick something new from the list to move in. But keep in mind, there are only so many smaller ones, so eventually it's going to be mostly big ones, and the town's going to kind of go to hell. But that is, look, that's generally the way the end of this campaign was going to go, no matter what. At some point, this town was going to go to hell. It's mainly just the build-up.
Yeah. We can't
That's
stop
the
it.
Now the question is hell,
I'm on the
actual literal hell,
highway to
or
hell.
just kind of in a metaphorical sense of hell.
You're thinking of
I
this too
guess we'll
vividly.
find out now, won't we?
You're thinking of this way.
Alright, where's my ACDC tape?
So, whenever you guys are ready, someone can give the what happened last time, and we can pick up where we left off,
So
or move to a new
Last
day.
time on Dragon Ball Z.
well, we're still on the same day, and it's around halfway through the day. What proceeded to kind of happen in some capacity is we totally skipped school, went up to the mountains.
Horrible children. Horrible.
We went up to the mountains and figured out that there's a cave. Due to Allison's dreams, there's a cave up around here-ish. Up in the corner somewhere. Like a good like upper left area. And inside of it is what seems to be things we do not know or understand. In the middle with a giant maze. Alongside, in that, at the center of the maze, is what remains of Jeremy Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly is somehow kind of was able to communicate, though it was pretty weird, and got some answers in some sort of capacity, which some of the other folks do not really know to a certain extent, because they were only getting Jeremy's answers, and he was kind of vague with some of them in the sense of how he was answering. So Kelly was asking the questions within her own head as her body and such was being possessed by Jeremy. It was a weird day. It's been a weird day. And he told the guys that there might be something in Ted's dad's lab, which is somewhere in the scrap yard, run by, I believe the name's Scrappy?
What was the name you're looking for?
For the person who runs the junkyard.
Scruffy.
Scruffy. Few letters short. And at the moment, everybody kind of went to their, Allison went to their anchor, which is the, fireman watch, which is, Griff. Trevor went to his home. Riley went to his home and talked to Eleanor a little bit. And Kelly went to, Robert Henderson's home. And basically kind of chatted with him for a little bit.
I like playing along. I did.
And
I've been waiting for
it's probably been a few hours now in that regard. Allison's still passed the fuck out in the fire watch in this session.
He's a burrito now.
Yeah, they're sleeping burrito in the fire watch. And apparently they got shocked so much from their interaction with Jeremy as a skeleton on a throne that they're kind of just knocked out cold from tiredness.
Sleep bewitches him.
So it just leaves the three of us now. Trevor, Riley, and Kelly.
What's up?
And like I said, I think it's a few hours since then, and I think
A little bit. It's like 2 to 3 o'clock. School is now letting out, so
okay.
no one's going to really look at you weird if they see you walking the streets. Aside from your fellow students and maybe the teachers if you run into them.
Yeah. Social status was really just not the norm anyway.
But
Yes.
should we start it?
I'm down.
Whenever you're ready.
Yay. Who wishes to go first in this conga line of chaos? Well, I see we have many takers that wish to go first. I can tell right off the bat that everyone just wants to go, but please try to be orderly about this. I'd like to get through the session today without having to bite someone's ear off. How about this? Since I'm already at the junkyard,
It's just me.
it's best that I be last.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, I kind of want to see Trevor fight his sister or his
Uh-oh.
parents.
What?
That's not a bad idea.
Oh God, me fighting my sister would end horribly.
I did bad. I did bad. I admit I did bad.
I mean, she's a caring and loving sister, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's not going to put you in a headlock when she finds out you skipped school.
Caring and loving in the family business is definitely different than caring and loving on a friendship basis. I can tell you that much from experience.
Okay, I could start off
If you
on
want.
my end. Because it's going to be quite entertaining to see what Trevor does. Because he has a longer distance than Kelly.
Yeah,
In
a
the
little bit of ways to travel.
There's multiple ways to travel, yes. it's a little bit more means travel for Trevor's side, and also one of the things we were told from last session by Jeremy or Jerry, which is don't let the those two companies find out about the lab. So good luck with that, Trevor.
I got this.
Riley has a free pass to just walk to the junkyard because obviously he's never admitted to knowing who Ted is.
But Kelly and
But
Trevor,
you two,
yeah.
you two and Allison have all admitted that you're friends with him and therefore are not as safe.
But yeah, Kelly's still in Henderson's house, and she knows the time and such like that, and she kind of goes. I did say I was going. I need to go to the junkyard. To meet up with Trevor, Riley, and Allison.
Oh yes, well, you're free to run along. Do you want some snacks to take with you?
Sure.
He gets up and goes over to the oven and opens it, pulls a tray, and there's just a bunch of freshly baked cookies that were just kind of keeping warm in there.
What type of
like-
cookies?
I'm the detective.
Just kind of basic sugar cookies that have been frosted in amusing ways. You know those like optical illusion things where it's like a cube, but like the corners don't make sense, or like triangles that loop around in strange ways, all that.
Oh my god.
He's frosted the cookies to look like optical illusions. For no particular reason. It's just kind of his style, you know?
That's fine.
Things that don't make sense.
Kelly.
So you're free. So he's offering you as many of the cookies as you can take with you and or want to take with you.
Kelly pulls
Just try
out.
just try not to look at him too much. You might hurt your brain.
Kelly take out her lunchbox.
Mm.
She probably have eaten her lunch during her time with Mr. Henderson, but
Yeah.
so it's pretty empty at the moment. So she puts the cookies in there and then puts it in her bag.
You have a nondescript number of cookies.
Yeah. How well you never gave it this how many.
No, that's
cookies-
fine. Nondescript is the best way. Is the best form of. It's
Yeah,
fucking
you-
Mr. Henderson. Okay, look, nondescript is
His
perfectly
thing.
fine.
It's his thing.
At some point, you're going to open that lunch box, and they're going to have multiplied somehow. It's going to be a cascade of cookies, none of which make sense.
But Kelly starts to head over to the front door and kind of just stops and goes,
Mm.
Henderson, can I take the back route?
You mean you want to head through the garden and just through the recess field and such?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he's just suggesting that you just kind of do that,
Yeah,
you know?
basically.
Just through the wood.
Yeah.
Oh, by all means, you can head out the back.
Okay. Cause during the weekend I got into a little bit of a situation with those Weasley guys. And
He just kind of strokes his little. I don't remember the name. He has that like very generic, like facial hair with like a mustache, with
Goatee?
just like a kind of. Is it goatee what I'm thinking of, or am I?
If you're thinking of a very small beard, it is a goatee, technically speaking.
It's one of those. It's one of those little pointy ones, but then he's got like a
That
bit of
is
a
a goatee.
curl. But he's got like that slight curl mustache above it,
And
all
what?
in like, you know,
That
all with like
evil
white
man
hair.
stash.
Kind of, except he's very friendly.
Yes.
You know, he's just this friendly old
Passive
guy.
aggressive.
Yeah. He kind of strokes his beard and goes, and he goes up to one of the front windows, kind of opens the blinds a little bit. He's like, ah, yes, I see one of those weasel trucks outside.
Yeah, since it's about time everybody's hanging out of school, they're probably crowding around because I know they're specifically interested in Ted, but due to a mistake on our end, they might be trucking me, Trevor, and Allison as well because they think we're more associated with him.
I see. Well, don't you worry. You take the back route, and I'll go make a bit of a distraction, he says, walking over to the front door.
Thank you!
Distraction.
And Kelly proceeds to go for the back door.
Say nothing of it. You just head out through the back door. I'm going to assume you don't look back, so you're not going to know exactly what he does.
She
But
kind of
you would.
she does before she heads
look-
out.
All right. You watch as he's opening the front door, him loosening the bathrobe he's been wearing.
Oh
And he just goes,
no.
"Hello, boys!" As he's walking
Too rich for his
outside.
own good.
Kelly proceeds to just fucking like, oh my god.
One of the
And she-
great things about being an old guy, and a rich one at that, is you really don't have to give a damn what anyone thinks. Especially when you're on your own property.
And Kelly proceeds to go into the woods just slightly enough where she can still see like the school, the PlayStation and stuff like that, but enough in so the weasel guys don't see her, and just make her way to the junkyard.
I'm just doing a quick roll real quick to see if you hear tires squealing or something. Yeah. Nah.
Nah?
You don't hear the weasel guys like screaming and putting the pedal to the metal. If you could see them now, though, they'd be very uncomfortable.
But yeah, Kelly makes her way to the junkyard, probably without any issue because she's using the forest as cover. and
Yes, you're
such.
being very sneaky. No need for a sneak roll. If you had gone along the main road, I would have asked for a sneak roll or something. But
Yeah.
you're playing it smart. You're playing it smart, and I appreciate that.
Mhm. And Kelly kind of comes out the kind of starts walking around the gate of the junkyard and heads to the front.
Trevor.
Alright.
Your turn.
Yeah.
Family time.
Yeah, your turn.
And you're not in the middle. You're not close enough to the woods, so.
Yep, you're in the middle of town.
Literally
5
smack
square feet.
fucking center of town right here. Just like fun.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Alright. Yeah,
What's
this
gonna-
fucking goes.
What's it gonna be, rocker boy?
How are you gonna get to the junkyard?
Hmm.
Oh, Respawn, to answer your question about the beard thing. One of the viewers said that it's called a soul patch. I believe is also the thing.
Oh,
yeah, that too.
that is what I'm thinking of.
Maybe. Let's
No, not that small.
Not that small.
see. Okay, so yeah, then go to.
Probably go to then.
Okay. I have a handful of possibilities to go about this.
Play your cards wisely.
I know, I'm trying to think here. Cause fuck. Literally if there's one outside my house, I'm literally just fucked because there's the matter of whichever way I take they'll follow.
Well, in that case, you might have to find a way to lose them.
Always fun. Alright, let's see. Oh, fuck. Well, first I'm gonna check if there even is like any shady-looking vehicles of either the weasels or badgers possibly nearby
Or them in general.
as well.
In what is it you're doing to look for them? Like, are you checking out a window, the like peephole for the door?
Start with my bedroom window, yeah, because that's where he is right now.
Does your bedroom window face the street or like the backyard?
Yeah, it would
Street?
face towards the street, yeah.
All right. You don't see any vehicles out there, nor do you see anyone just like lurking on your lawn or the sidewalk. Hello?
Hello?
Did any of that come through?
Yeah, I heard it. Just fucking Discord.
Okay.
For some reason, it actually it stops picking up me mumbling, which is weird because I do that a lot.
What shall you do?
Fuck it. I'm gonna just grab my stuff like normal and just head back outside. Just start walking to. I'm gonna start walking as if I'm heading towards the record store. Yeah.
Alright.
That is his first choice of direction.
So you're walking along. Go ahead and feel free to move your piece around the map as you move.
Where is the record store? In general, vicinity wise.
I'd say it's like right around here.
Okay.
Right where the arrow is, that space.
Yeah.
You head on down. You go through some alleyways, some side streets and such, because I mean, technically everything's a side street when this is what counts as a main road.
Yeah.
So you make it out back of the record store. You haven't really seen any of the dudes. You've seen a few trucks out along. You've seen a few of their vehicles out along the main road, but none around the paths you've taken so far.
This is gonna be a roundabout hell way to do it, but this might actually work.
Mm.
So going to go past the record store.
And the opening part of the road is going to be the most difficult part for you.
Yeah, like right here, because it's right there, so... Put a bit more distance between the main road, because... Literally, end goal has suddenly become just fucking roundabout as fuck like this to see if this would work.
I mean, okay, I'm curious. Will Trevor hear the screaming? Guys.
Well, as I said, they didn't. Unfortunately, Mr. Henderson did not get a high enough roll to cause an immediate primal fear in his targets.
But we can probably guess he's out and about now in some capacity. Probably make a fucking scene.
Well, he's just outside his house, distracting one car of dudes.
That's true.
If you want to play-by-play as Trevor thinks of what he's going to do, so the camera cuts back to Henderson, and he's got the newspaper that was sitting on his front lawn in one hand, because that was that's totally why he went out there, was just to pick up the newspaper. His bathrobe's kind of loosely flapping around his legs, and he's got one arm just like inside the window of the truck parked outside. And he's just kind of leaning into their vehicle a little bit, just like telling them this roundabout story about things, while they're uncomfortably trying not to look at him and his open bathrobe. I remember when my family first came to this town. I mean, it was just me at the time, but I mean, a few of my siblings moved in for a bit, and they left a few years after that. Moved down closer to the coast, where there's beach properties
Kelly
and
needs
such.
to
It's great
bring
this
her
time of year.
friends to Mr. Henderson at some point to see how fucking
His
insane
story
he
just
is.
literally rambles on and on into other stories without ever finishing the original ones.
Best distraction ever.
That skill that old people seem to excel at.
Yes.
Where they just start a story, somehow transition into another story without finishing the first one, and then transition that stories, and so on and so forth, forever.
And it's like, how did this start again? Oh right, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
At some point, because again, the kids at the school think he's a normal person. Only
Yeah, they
Kelly
just
is,
know him as the art teacher.
yeah. Kelly's the only one that knows how fucking insane this guy is.
He is nuts. Thing is, he does it on purpose. He's not nuts because there's something wrong with him. He's nuts because he embraces it.
He's nuts, cause fuck it.
Fuck it, he's having a good time. He's pretty much the richest person in town. He can do what he wants. He's the richest person in a nowhere town in the middle of nowhere on a mountain. He can kind of get away with whatever the fuck he wants.
And we're sure Mr. Henderson isn't Agent's dad?
He is not, as far as we know.
This was it, as far as we know. Anyway. Alright, so let's see how sneaking through this thin tree line works.
That works.
So you are of course moving uphill as you're doing this.
Yes.
The majority of the town is kind of in like a, I want to say like a recessed area. Like it was mostly flattened. It's not perfectly flat, but you are getting a better angle on the town as you go up.
Okay, cool.
Like the slope along here is greater than the slope along here, so you're getting a bit of a high ground or whatever.
Oh.
Have the high ground.
Yeah. So, so there's like a small, not like a cliff, but a pretty steep slope down between here and here. So you can kind of see over the businesses a bit. And you do actually see a business right around there that says Weasel on the side. There seems to be a few lights on and people milling about inside, as businesses do.
Note to self: don't visit Dad at work.
You would know that your dad does not work for the Weasels.
I know, but
He is in
General-
that area, though.
but yeah, close proximity. It's like note to self.
Like,
It's also not a large building. This town is too small for like skyscrapers or anything. It's like 4 stories at
You
best.
are doing the big loop around.
I kind of had it works. I'm just like fuck it.
I mean, you could have done like one sneak roll to try and dodge across the road or something, but I mean, if this is the way you have chosen to do it, I'm not going to stop you or dissuade you.
I was about to say, looks at my problem. Fuck it. It works.
It works. I mean, all the way around here.
I'm not gonna take my time just like casually doing that because unless they're like just in the middle of the fucking woods,
Just sprinting along forest trails.
pretty much just. Da.
Can we
You find
snap-
yourself coming out of the woods around James's house. It's right over there. You can hear the chickens.
Yeah, it's like, oh okay,
You just cross the road.
that
There
works.
you go. Alright. I'm also going to pull you guys to like the random like drawing page, just so I can give you an idea of the junkyard's layout or like the plot of land, and then we'll go
Okay.
back.
well,
Yeah.
tell that.
So, to draw a shape. So let's say this is the plot of land that is the junkyard.
Okay.
This corner up here is an old closed down car wash.
Mm.
The main entrance to the junkyard is over here. There's a little office kind of space here. And the rest of this is just kind of full of, assorted junk.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that there just in case we have to go back to it, but for now I'm gonna pull us back to the town.
Yeet.
Alright. So you've made it to the junkyard. You can see the long closed down old car wash, and you can see the big gate for the junkyard. Kind of just a little ways down from it.
Hey, Trevor. Took you a good while.
I took a very indirect route here.
Mm. Um, I basically kind of snuck through the tree lines. Well, my the art teacher gave a interesting distraction.
I just walk cross road.
Wish I
Tree
had
line,
that
very easy cover.
Never have I.
Oh, Henderson did give me some cookies. If anyone wants some.
What dat?
Sounds good. Kind of hungry after all that. Yikes.
Never have I.
Kelly goes into her bag, takes out her lunchbox, opens her lunchbox up, revealing the sugar cookies.
The weird optical illusion frosting images.
I don't suggest looking at those too long.
So,
I don't care. Sugar cookies.
Riley would just look at it, being like, "What this?"
Riley,
It's-
roll me a mind.
Okay.
Your brain is not adapted. You will
Yeah.
perish.
No.
Oh fuck. Riley, you have been perplexed. These cookies do not make sense.
Does not.
I'm
look
not
like
actually going to
squirrel
make you take a
me.
debuff or anything, but, you know, for RP purposes or whatever, you have been perplexed. The optical illusions have taken hold of your mind.
Riley?
Shiny.
Kelly just waves her hand in front of Riley's face, like tries to attempt to, but she's kind of short to do so.
Weird
Uh,
circle thing does shiny things.
Because remember,
Uh,
Kelly's 4 foot.
Yeah, Kelly, give me like an empathize roll or something. Something like that. To wave your hands in front of his face, try and snap him out of it.
Weird shiny circle.
Fuck.
No, he's out.
I'm never taking food from you again.
His mind is trying to comprehend the incomprehensible corners and angles of these strange images on the cookies.
Circle thing far too complicated.
Riley.
Mm.
Try snapping her fingers in front of him.
Give me another empathize roll.
There-
Okay, you managed to snap him out of it.
Huh?
Riley,
What? What?
we were losing you there for a second.
Weird circle thing, very shiny, very intriguing, but very complicated.
Mm. Kelly takes out one of the cookies and just starts munching on it.
And also tastes very good.
Probably would just look at it again, but then remember what happened, and just doesn't. He's like just trying to figure out what he's supposed to do with it, and then he just like slowly just puts it on his head.
Riley, you eat it.
Is food?
Yeah, it's food.
Is good food?
Is
Is
the
not
best food.
squirrel?
It's not squirrel.
He like takes a nibble out of it.
It
And after it
tastes wonderful.
fucking just shoves the whole thing into his mouth and just sits there like contemplating everything. Is definitely not squirrel.
Kuma,
It's far better than squirrel.
Kuma. You have a weakness to sugar. This should not be. this, considering what you know of yourself, this should not be too out of the expected for you.
Yes.
So I don't want to like write your character for you, but you like sugar.
Hell yeah.
You absolutely love sugar more than the average kid, because the average kid has grown up with sugar. This is like your first experience with like the undiluted amounts of sugar that it comes with American culture.
I'm just gonna sit there, just
bucket
like
of sugar that is in one cookie.
sooner or later I'm gonna be vibrating.
Probably. You will probably vibrate and get very energetic sometime soon.
Oh god, something
Did I make
Never.
a
ran through
mistake?
my head.
Did I make a mistake?
No, I totally didn't just like do this on purpose, knowing what would happen.
My brain just clicked something terrifying.
What's
What?
that?
I immediately just pictured Riley as the fucking squirrel from over the hedge.
Oh hell yeah!
Not
Where's
that
my
bad. It's
speed
not,
buff?
it's not that bad. It might feel like it, but it's not that bad.
Vibrate so fast, time appears to stop. Like the
Yeah.
fuck?
And the thing is, there's like probably a good number of cookies in Kelly's lunchbox.
There are- I mean, how many cookies have people had so far?
I'm
Uh,
probably on like 3 already because my thing was sugar cookies.
I'm still trying to recover from one.
Kelly also had one.
So you guys have had 5 so far. You've got more. You've got more.
Okay.
Sugar
Kelly
cookies
co-
are my weakness, by the way. You are welcome.
Kelly shuts the lunchbox and puts it back into her bag. Okay. You good, Riley?
Is fine.
Holy shit.
That is some intense vibrating. You sound like you're in a massage chair, bro.
Riley's having a good time. He's happy to be here.
Oh, that is a major sugar high.
Boy. So you guys are outside the junkyard by the car wash or whatever, and just eating cookies, having a good time.
Mm. Kelly looks. Is the fence like a wire fence? Can we see through it?
So there is no fence around the car wash. Like that's part of the reason I showed that diagram, so you would know where the fence is.
Mm-hmm.
But the fence that is there is like a double high chain link fence with some barbed wire along the top. So not a very nice looking fence, but it works.
As you expect from junkyards.
Yes. No, it is a fence purely with the intent of making sure no one gets in or out.
Should we? My biggest thing is how we're gonna talk to Scruffy.
Bring up Steve Person, Ryder.
You mean?
Steve.
Listen, I'm not the biggest of brains here.
You mean Jerry?
Yes.
How do you get Steve from Jerry? Okay.
I'm literally still recovering from a sugar rush. Leave me the fuck alone.
He's still in the middle of one.
To Steve person. Who is Steve?
Also, Riley, is this your first time having a cookie?
Maybe.
Oh god. What have we done?
How am I supposed to know?
Good point.
Okay, so we have no. Let's go in and see if we can talk.
For say junkyards, you normally have front gates. That's how people get
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, no, I'm just nervous on interaction. Also, Mr. Henderson told me there's two dogs.
What kind?
I didn't specify what kind, but their names are Spike and Rex, I believe.
Very
normal.
concerning.
Sounds about right for a junkyard. Anyway.
So we go over to the gate and go in.
Alright. So you guys go over to the gate. It is closed, but it's not like locked or anything. It's just like a little latch that keeps the gate from flying open.
Hmm. So there's enough
So
space for us to squeeze through, basically.
I did not say that. I'm just saying that there's
No,
just like
sorry. I meant on the factor of like opening wise. Sorry.
you can just flip the latch and throw the gate open as much as you want.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
It'll squeak and creak a bit because it's old metal, but you know,
Wording is not a key point, especially since I'm tired.
Salgood. Salgood. Guys, open the gate.
I'm doing D&D tabletop.
Okay. He had sour clothing, so I put him in a hot dryer.
Okay. Sorry, Mom. Hello?
What up?
Hello?
What?
Yes.
What's going on? Sorry, Mom distracted me for a moment. So.
It's alright. So you guys have opened the gate.
Oh my god.
Riley's flipping out.
And Kelly just kind of heads in.
Alright. You head in, there's a bunch of junk everywhere. You can see sort of like a small office-looking building to your left. Like a singular office room-sized building with
Is there a window
there's like a
or
glass.
something?
Yeah, there's like a glass window that you might interact with someone through.
Kelly attempts to see. I don't know how tall this thing is.
You can see through it, which is mostly fine. You might have to tippy toe a little bit if you wanted to get like eye level with it, but you can still kind of see through it.
Okay, does she see anyone in it?
The light is on. There's a large, kind of round gentleman sitting back there, not really paying attention to you guys. He seems slightly hunched over a table next to him, just kind of fiddling with something.
God damn, my anxiety's starting to kick in.
Are you worried about this man?
It's more due to how the conversation might end up. Cause thinking about it,
Don't worry about this man. You'll see.
hello?
Scruffy is one of my favorites. You see him like perk up a bit and kind of look around. He kind of leans over and sees like the top of your head. He seems to push away from the table he's on, and you hear the sounds of a rolly chair as he just kind of moves over. He puts his hands on like the little counter space there, just like very polite like, and leans in so you can see him and he can see you just fine. And you see he's got like a big gray walrus mustache and a flat cap pulled down over his eyes a little bit.
Mm.
And a nice round nose. Says, "Oh, hello there. How can I help you? Come by for something?" Just
Kind
looking?
of. We were sent here by Jerry Ryder.
Jerry Ryder. He disappeared a while back, didn't he?
We found him, though his predicament at the current state of things has caused him to be unable to be out and about.
Did say he found something out in the mountains. I suppose whatever it was got the best of him. It's good to hear that he's still somewhat with us, I suppose. I was never much for asking too many questions about all that science business those two got up to.
He's the situation he's in. He's currently trying to look for Ted's dad. Sorry, I'm bad with names at times.
Oh, it's quite all right. I know who you're talking of.
Mhm.
Yes, he was very intent on fixing that up, considering all the problems he'd go on about that had come up after he left.
He sent us here to see if there's any items that could help us help him to a more good direction of things that could help us or help him.
Items, you say? I take it. He kind of like leans in a bit closer to the glass. He must have told you about the lab then,
Kelly nods, yeah. Without saying yes, she nods.
Yeah, he leans back and gives kind of a hearty chuckle, just kind of. Well, I suppose if he thinks you can do something with all of that nonsense, I might as well. Otherwise, it's just gathering dust.
Also, would you like some sugar cookies?
Cookies.
Oh, he kind of just pats his large belly. It's like, oh no, I shouldn't, but maybe the dogs would like some.
Mr. Henderson made some, so.
You hear the creak of his chair as he's slowly getting up onto his feet. He kind of walks around in that office space. He moves away from the window. You hear like the jangle of keys. Then you hear the door next to the window kind of like unlatching and opening. And he steps out, and he's, a large, friendly-looking man. Not necessarily large as in tall, but he's got some weight to him, some heft. As he steps out, you hear some slight panting, and a very old bulldog walks out behind him. Maybe half your size, a particularly large bulldog.
Oh god.
Particularly large bulldog walks out, but this seems like a very, very old dog. A lot of its fur is gray, and its eyes don't open all the way, and it just seems kind of exhausted, but happy to be going outside with Scruffy. And then a almost younger version looking, and then another bulldog of about the same size, slightly smaller, but looking much younger and peppier, walks out after it. Also, just full of smiles and happy, looking around you guys and wagging.
This must be Rex and Spike.
He chuckles a bit. Oh, he told you about the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
He very slowly and carefully gets down to one knee, as he is old and, he weighs a bit. He gently pats the older dog on the head. Yes, this one is Spike, and that's his kid, Rex.
Kelly walks up. Is it okay for me to pet?
Oh, yes, they're good dogs. Very good.
And Kelly proceeds to pet both of them.
Right. Spike seems to somewhat manage to smile at the pets, and his tail gives very lazy but happy wags back and forth. Rex is a bit more energetic and kind of leans on you a little bit, which almost pushes you over, but I'm not going to make you roll for it. You're fine.
Yeah. The problem with big dogs and small people can
Yep. They're very big, friendly dogs, much like their owner.
Kelly quickly goes into her bag, takes out the lunchbox, and takes out 2 cookies and 2 of the sugar cookies. Hands one to Rex, hands one to Spike.
Rex happily just like munches it down. Spike just kind of holds it in his mouth for a minute, and then just like slowly chews it and swallows.
And Kelly proceeds to close lunchbox and put lunchbox away.
All right, well then, right, the lab, of course.
Yeah.
He kind of pulls a key ring from his waist belt and starts flipping through it. It's one of these. He starts walking back towards the gate of the junkyard. The dog's just kind of following along slowly behind
Kelly
him.
gives a movement to the 2 to come and follows.
Oh, yes, I didn't get any of your names, he says as he walks out the gate and starts walking down the sidewalk.
Oh, I'm Kelly Hall.
From the antique store. I've never been there myself, but I've passed by it. And the other 2?
Trevor.
Rylie.
Rylie, Riley's a little stuttery at the moment. First time having a cookie.
Intense energy.
To be a kid again, he says with a happy little laugh. He leads you guys to the shutdown car wash and eventually finds the key he was looking for. Well, it'll be in here. He carefully and slowly gets down and puts the key into the lock on the garage door shutter on one end of the car wash. Unlocks it and carefully lifts it up and pushes it up to the top. Inside you see what looks like a pretty standard automatic car wash setup. You got the spinny things, the hoses, the this and the that. Just all the basics of a car wash. He walks in and the dogs kind of follow him, and find little spots on the floor to sit at for the time being, as he grabs one of those like yellow construction remotes hanging from a cord from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, come on.
Kelly follows in.
Yeep.
I'm guessing Riley does the same.
Yes. Still cover for falling.
So you are all now standing inside of the car wash. He pushes a button on the remote and it lights up. And then he lifts one hand up and kind of pops a panel off the side of it.
Mhm.
And then pushes a separate set of buttons. And suddenly you feel the floor shake a little. Just like a sudden jolt, sudden jerk. And the entire thing starts to descend as the garage door closes behind you guys.
Holy cow!
Well done.
Sudden reconstruction.
Yes, you guys are on essentially a large cargo elevator that is now descending to an area below the junkyard.
How is this?
It would take maybe a full minute or two for it to settle into the floor of the space you guys now find yourselves in.
Kelly just looks around in fucking awe at the factor of just that happening and just kind of like questioning, like, how is.
Yeah, I really question the zoning laws and some of this stuff, but hey.
What?
I mean, you gotta
He lets go of the remote for the thing, and the dogs both stand up and slowly make their way over to some little doggy beds that are down here, and just both lie down and kind of watch. Scruffy kind of starts pointing things out as he walks down a somewhat clear pathway. It's not as clear as it might have once have been, towards the office area, and he's like, "Yes, there's plenty of stuff down here from when the lads were still working on it." He points up the ceiling, and you guys can see some mostly intact planes hanging from it. Just like small, like, just small, like, generic airplanes, nothing fancy.
Holy cow.
Just like little propeller planes and whatnot. Just like, points to various random contraptions and things made of metal and electronics scattered about, some of which are
Kelly's just
nicely on
looking
shelves, some of which
around.
are
Kelly's
large and sitting on the floor. Yeah, just
Kelly's just looking around in awe at this current state of things because she truthfully thought it was gonna be like a tiny little like bunker type of lab, not this giant place.
yeah, it's almost like a warehouse down here, but it's it's kind of like an old museum almost of just all these random inventions, things you've never seen before, and the things that do seem similar to things you've seen before are either partially disassembled as they were probably used for parts, or have things added to them that look strange and interesting, perhaps.
Hold on.
All except for the planes. The planes seem completely normal, aside from the fact that most of them aren't fully intact yet.
Do you know what if there's anything that they Ted's dad was mostly working on recently before his disappearance?
Scruffy just kind of rubs his face a little bit. He's like, well, as I said, I didn't much get into their business. I know that they were working on things, but as far as what and why and whatnot, I didn't particularly care.
Yeah, because
We had a simple arrangement where I let them, use this space down here for whatever thing they wanted to use it for, and in return I got, a little bit of payment so I could keep up with my hobbies, and they were even nice enough to build some planes for me. Never got around to finishing them, but they're nice.
Kelly just kind of scratches her cheek a little bit, saying, "Yeah." Funny thing was, even though Jerry kind of sent us down here, he never really specifically told us what to find. So, is there any like notes Kelly looks around, seeing if there's any drawers of notes or anything like that around. Any journals, possibly.
Scruffy takes a seat in an extra large office chair with some extra cushions and padding and a pillow, kind of just duct tapes to the headrest. He gets comfy, but he walked over to what is essentially like the office area rather than storage for all these various electronics. There's a work table or two with various bits and pieces and tools scattered about, along with some more organized shelves and compartments for screws of various sizes and so on and so forth. And there is even a blueprints table with a very small but very cluttered bookshelf kind of situation sitting next to it.
Kelly goes up to the bookshelf.
All right. It's got a bunch of loose leaf journals and other sorts. A few smaller, like memo pad things. There's even a binder that looks like it's mostly full of restaurant napkins that have been drawn on.
Trevor, Rylie, what are you guys doing?
Yes, let's. You two have been silent. Do something.
Entertain me.
Do things. Contribute.
Just gonna start looking through the various things on the shelves.
Bits and bobs.
Yes, the bits and bobs and random madness.
Rylie at a disadvantage. Remember when we talked about last session was when Rylie was a caveman in terms of tech? Yeah, I think we're in the wrong area for this.
Yes.
Riley's just gonna sit and watch.
Yes. Riley cannot make sense of most of this. He understands that these things are of a metal and are somewhat bulky, but other
Bunga
than that.
bunga. Metal shaped.
Trevor, I'm trying to think of something that would be on these shelves that your character might have interest in. You find what looks like just a standard record player.
Huh. Well, at least I had music on here.
Yeah.
So the old man did listen to some tunes.
Kelly looks through the bookshelves and see if there's anything that looks a bit more recent.
A bit less dusty.
Yeah.
There are a few things, but as far as what seems like the least dusty, is the stuff currently on the blueprints table that has not been shelved.
Kelly looks over at the blueprints and see what that has on them.
From as far as you can tell, it looks like he was trying to make something that incorporated the car wash itself. Like he was trying to use the car wash as almost like a frame or a housing for something else that would like attach into it and turn it into something else, while probably still looking like a car wash from the outside.
What in the world?
Huh.
Unfortunately, you can't make much sense of the various scientific jargon that is written on it. At least not at first glance. You might need to make a roll of some kind to figure out what this jargon means and or says.
Fuck. Okay. Which one do you want me to?
Let's go with calculate. Calculate would probably be the best for figuring out
No.
how these sorts of things work. Nope.
Oh boy.
You can't really figure it out.
Riley looks at what color lady was looking at, and he kind of tilts, seeing that there was pictures on the paper that she was somewhat looking at, and kind of walks over and it's like, see paper?
Sure. She moves to the side a little bit so he can have a better view.
He adjusts his speculars and takes a look at it.
Roll calculate.
Damn it!
Nope.
Curse my luck!
Trevor, you want to come over here and take a look at this?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Yes, the
blueprints for
paper, pen,
something.
paper.
And it seems to involve the whole car wash.
Okay.
Yes, the paper is made of paper.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Ah, yes, this blueprint is blue.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
God.
Scruffy's just kind of leaned back in his chair, just kind of watching you three.
I'm gonna do another attempt. Kelly looks.
Just smack your face into it. See if it does anything.
Nah.
You're gonna put your heads together and see if anything happens.
Fucking hell.
Apparently not.
As far as you can tell, I mean, I'll give you this much. Looking at it and looking around the warehouse with all this stuff in it, whatever this thing is, it's not here, even in an incomplete state, as far as you can tell.
Hmm.
Riley takes blueprint, rolls it up, and like walks over to the elevator again. And is like up.
What?
He just
Riley
trying
thinks.
to leave, with the blueprint.
Rylie!
Riley, think of something. Riley thinking things.
What?
Thinking. Riley think blueprint is important, but Riley thinking that blueprint need to be taken to skeleton person. If no anything.
Oh my god. Let's first
We should
look
finish
around.
looking around.
Let's finish looking around first before we go back to Jeremy.
Riley's just gonna grump a little bit, but then again, he's still high on fucking sugar still, so he's not going to think straight.
Just immediately up. What?
Riley would just then sit on the elevator and just keep looking at the fucking blueprints. Just trying to wrap his brain around the color blue and printing.
Kelly looks around a bit more. Is there anything else more, in the sense of anything she could spot? Because she's mostly in the office area at the current moment. She hasn't really stepped out
Yeah.
to look around at the inventions and stuff like that.
Give me investigate to see if you'd notice. See if you'd notice anything.
Shit!
No, you're not seeing. Keep in mind, you guys. It is a new session, so you guys will all have your luck points back if you want to use them to re-roll anything.
Actually, Kelly takes a re-sweep. This time, though, seeing if she can spot anything involving the gloves she has.
All right. So now you're doing a new investigate specifically for anything glove related.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. All right. You'd find a loose sheet of paper that seems to have been just kind of swept under one of the desks. Catches your eye.
Kelly takes it out. Takes the paper and takes a look at it.
All right. It's a little old. It's a little hard to read. But the basic gist of what you're getting from it, from what you can figure and interpret, is at some point on some day in the past, while he was searching for something. Like it mentions the name of some device he had that helped him find things. But while he was out using it to search for things, he found the gloves and recognized them for being well, I'm trying to think of how to say things without giving too much away. But to be fair, I suppose I might as well, considering it is an active mystery now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
He brought them back to the lab and was able to properly actually date them for how old they are, despite their appearance. And it mentions some estimate of them being, as them having been on Earth since the ancient Greek times.
What in the world?
Heh. Rather we just look up from reading, from like smacking his face in the blueprints, being like, hey.
Kelly kind of like goes into her bag and pulls out the gloves and just like, what? Looks at the note again, looks at the gloves, is like, what?
About how they were around since ancient Greek times, and how even he isn't certain how they ended up here, but that they've been around that long and have been in some way changing and adapting as time went on. Like, there's clearly a lot more under the surface than there appears to be. There's almost a sort of active camouflage aspect to them that keeps them in a state that looks normal to the eye. And along with theories that, perhaps back in medieval days they might have appeared as a pair of gauntlets, but that they have continually changed as time went on to suit whatever made sense for the time period.
Trevor?
Yo, what's up?
Take a look at this note. It's about these gloves.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a thing apparently.
It also
Yeah.
mentions about perhaps gifting them to Rosie if things get dire enough. And about how that'd be elsewhere. I'm not going to say that part.
Kelly just was like, are these something combat associated? Wise? I swear, if these things are meant for fighting, I'm probably gonna just give them to you, Trevor.
I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like from looking at these things, and trying to remember if that was in his half or your half that we actually heard that part.
It he said how what Jerry? He said he did say out loud about how the Gubs seem to have something, but there is some sort of possible danger or something like that to these things.
Yeah, because he randomly brought up someone being a boxer.
That was Rosie. That was the
Oh,
nun.
a nun that boxes the foot. All right.
Yeah. Because I asked about the
More
shadow
reason to go to
boxer.
church. Oh,
Yeah. I asked about that and he said that well, you heard him say basically that Rosie was a boxer.
and then we watched Allison get laid out by it, and it was funny. Well, that came beforehand, but still,
I think that mostly she got a broken nose from that.
it was still funny.
Not sure what happening, but must important?
Oh,
Just-
Kelly holds up the gloves. I found these in my mom's store one day. Apparently they're older than we realize.
Magic
Mom's
noodle covers important? Just like
What?
Tilt said.
Are you talking about the gloves?
Noodle covers.
What the hell did you just call
Listen, you gotta understand here. I'm working on my English. I don't have books on me. I'm just gonna do what I can to make do.
Okay.
Do you mean? I'm guessing you're meaning the gloves.
He'd like nod and then just point to the gloves and nod.
Yeah. We don't know exactly how they're important, but they seem important in some retrospect, seeing how we heard that one of the missing people have been using these. We found out apparently they've been around since Greek times, which is really long ago.
Yup.
Grek people have very interesting fashion sense.
Well, the thing is, these things have been adapting.
Oh.
Apparently, they changed their forms over time.
I mean, true statement on the left. They did have some weird ass fashion.
Actually, can I see the note? Trevor?
Which one?
Okay.
Wait, which note?
I gave you the note that was regarding the gloves, so you could see
Oh.
it.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. Thought I was just looking at it.
Callie goes up to the bookshelf, takes a look at the paper, and see if she can spot anything regarding the name of the device, as in like anything blueprint related to the device that found the gloves.
Yeah, give me like an investigate roll. How about? You'd be able to find a blueprint. Like, it would take a lot of comparison, considering the name's a little bit scratched out from age. But you'd be able to find a blueprint that seemed to have like a similar number of like characters to the name and such.
Okay. Does it say about finding things? Because from the note, it sounds like it's a gadget to be able to find stuff.
Well, it doesn't really say what it does on the blueprint itself, because the blueprint, of course, is mostly just how to build it. But it looks like some sort of vacuum almost, like something mixed, some like strange hybrid of vacuum and metal detector, just from the way it looks. But inside the sort of the storage space that a vacuum would normally have, there's some special notes talking about like some strange metal that is not normal to Earth being used as a power source for it.
Kelly steps out of the office with the blueprint in hand and see if she can spot it within the workshop.
All right. Give me another investigate roll, and if anyone else wants to help look for it, you do too.
That's a third investigate.
I'm gonna just sit here trying to contemplate these here printy blues.
Pretty blues.
But I did just
with
roll.
with one success, unfortunately, I'll have to say that you're not going to be able to find it amidst just the sheer number of things and the size of this place.
Trevor,
What's up?
you think you can help me find an item? She shows the blueprint.
Maybe.
All right.
Kelly
I
joins.
assume Trevor's also looking now.
Yep.
Yes.
As mentioned, one success, not going to be enough. So, him searching now is she's not going to turn up much more.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say that one of you checked like the first couple of shelves, and the other one checked the second couple of shelves.
Yeah.
So you've gotten a bit of the ways through this place, but you haven't really found anything.
Riley looks
try.
up and just watches the both of them just shuffling around places.
I want to take another see if because Kelly would look back at Riley for a little bit, saying, we're looking for something.
What thing?
It might be an item that helps us find stuff.
What
We're
look
looking
like?
for We're looking for a thing so we can find other things.
Thingy to find thingy.
Yeah, Kelly
Oh.
walks over and shows Riley the blueprint.
Thingy finder. Alright, I help. He just like, with one hand still holding onto the rolled up blueprint, he like just starts like looking around. So,
Alright, give me an investigate. Holy shit. Huh. Okay.
Did you know that was possible?
Hmm. So you find it. You find it.
thingy finder.
There it is.
Respawn.exe has stopped working.
Huh.
Please reinstall.
So Riley finds it like immediately. Like he just snips it out. Just like, oh, thing. And you just watch him walk like 4 shelves down, take an immediate left, and then immediately pick it off a shelf on the right. So he immediately, and then he just comes back. He's like, here it is. Here's the
Thingy
Cool.
finder found.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just,
We'll
you
take
just
another fucking
skip
year
on
time.
back to the elevator and just go continue looking at the blueprint.
Take another
So
fucking year to find
it
that
looks it looks pretty much like the blueprint. As the blueprint looked like. It looks kind of like a metal detector, but with you know those vacuums that have like a see-through like cylinder space. You can see all the stuff you're sucking up.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like a metal detector with one of those canister things built into it, but the canisters has been like blacked out with spray paint.
Huh.
You can still open it, but you can't just like see into it without opening it.
See where
Kelly-
Ted gets his ingenuity from.
Kelly opens it to see if there's anything inside of it at the current state of things.
There seems to be a bit of like a special housing. There's like little struts and circles and such specifically made to hold something in place inside, and it is currently holding something. In fact, it's a little shiny. It seems to even be glowing and actively powering this thing. I'll tell you right now, this thing would not have been there if he had gotten, less successes. So you would have had to take more time and effort to actually find the power source. But, I can't exactly argue with 4 successes, so here we are. But there's this
help it.
there's this shiny thing inside the housing that seems to be actively powering it. And this particular shiny thing just looks really nice.
Kelly
Just like-
struts it.
God fucking damn it.
Kelly just
All
shuts
right.
it right then and there.
So, no longer being able to see it, you would recognize that this was the same way you felt about that rock that was found at the school.
Well, the thing is, Kelly never really looked at the rock before.
Oh, well.
Kelly was one of the
It
few.
was only, it
Well,
was only
Kelly-
Trevor.
It was only like Allison, Ted.
Well, the others looked at it and described it to you, I think, so.
No.
No?
No.
Trevor, did you look at it while she had it open?
When she opened it, yeah.
You would recognize it then. You would recognize that feeling. You know what's in there.
Well,
It's
that answers
a
that
power
question.
source. It
Like,
might
well,
have taken another 3 sessions for you guys to figure that out, but here we are.
Kelly just, yeah, she as soon as she got that off feeling of this is a really nice rock, she just fucking shuts it. It's like,
No.
no.
I ain't about stones.
about them stones.
Kelly just looks at Trevor. It's like,
Well, that answers that question, which I think Ted still has that.
Yeah, I still need to ask him if he found out about anything with regards to that. But
What now?
I guess we can. Well, my theory's correct. I'm guessing this is the thing to find stuff. In the sense of things. Though I don't
Are you
know
wearing the
exactly.
glove? Are you wearing the gloves right now, by the way?
Yeah, Kelly's wearing the gloves.
All right, just making sure. You would notice that there is kind of like a very basic metal switch on it that is currently set in the off position, as noted by some kind of scratched up white writing on it.
Kelly turns it on to see how it works and such.
It starts beeping. Like just kind of a beep, 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 beep. It's like a little fast paced.
Okay.
Can I see that real quick?
Yeah. Here, she hands it to Trevor, and it's like, actually, hold on. Let me try something. She walks away with the. She walks away from Trevor, who's holding the item now.
Yep.
Beep, 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 beep.
Crazy
Beep.
thingy finder is detecting
Beep.
gloves.
Okay, so these are.
Aha. Well done.
Okay, yeah, because from the note.
Yeah.
So that is the item.
Yeah, this is the thing to find the other whatever these things are.
Well, just let's not open that like at all.
Yeah.
What if Rock run out of juice?
Have a spare. Technically.
Though I think we're in a little bit of a bad side with the person who has it.
It's fine. We have a spare.
Take Rock. Then just looks up and looks around the room. It's like, anything else you need? Another thingy finder?
How big is this thingy finder?
I mean, it is about the size of a metal detector. It's a little bit smaller and a bit heavier.
So it's basically big and lengthy in a sense with metal detectors. Actually, because actually, like the long pole ones, because I know there's multiple types of metal detectors. There's the small handheld ones, and then there's the big long.
The ones that people use for like beach walking and such.
Big. Okay, yeah.
It is a bit shorter than one of those, but slightly heavier. Well, with the added bulk.
Yes, because carrying thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so slight problem with it is I don't think we're gonna be able to carry that around everywhere.
Yeah, it would be a little obvious if you have it with you.
Yeah. Kelly kind of looks around the place because she hasn't really took the chance to look around the stuff fully yet. With the gizmos and stuff like that.
Looking around at things, stuff and things. Anything in particular that you might be trying to find, or just looking at all the random thises and thatses?
Mainly just anything really eye-catching, something that she would think that might help in some capacity, but something not that big.
I mean, there are plenty of smaller things, but it's hard to tell what any of it really is, and how much of it is things that were actually completed or were started and then never finished.
Yeah. So Kelly's just kind of generally just walking around and looking at things.
Ooh, I might have something. 1 minute.
Riley has idea.
Riley has idea.
What is Riley idea? Riley type. Me curious as to why Riley type and to whom.
Don't worry about it. I'm responding to a friend because I'm multitasking, I guess, to a certain extent. But I'm gonna just take a look around and see if I can see anything in particular that intrigues me. I know I'm not the techie kind, but if there's like a fucking instruction manual or anything that can help me describe these blueprints.
Hmm. I guess just give me an investigate roll.
Can I do the same?
Shit.
Riley would not find anything. Sure. Kelly, you're allowed to do a search. Oh, you know what?
Okay, you.
You know what? You tell me what it is you find, and I might like scale it down a little just so it's not too
I
much.
have okay.
But
I
you
don't
tell me
know.
what you
I'm
find.
bad with coming up with items. I'm bad with coming up with items.
Brain in a jar. No.
No.
Oh
Holy
God!
shit.
No. I'm generally bad with creating items, so I'm in the dark with this one.
Okay, all right. You know what? I know something slightly relevant that you can find.
Hey guys, I found power armor. I mean, what?
Oh no.
You managed to find what looks like some sort of weird science laser gun that is partially disassembled and partially like it kind of blew itself up.
Sounds like a project on
Kelly
wrong.
just picks it up and just looks at it.
Scruffy kind of looked at her and was like, "Oh, it's that thing."
What's this thing?
I think he called it like the. I don't really remember what the name of it was, but he said that it would help him with fighting whatever was out there. I remember when he came back with that thing. He was gonna go out, get Rosie, and go fight something that'd come
Oh.
through. And when he came back, that thing was busted, and everyone seemed kind of sad about it. And I think I figured why, 'cause Rosie kind of disappeared.
Okay. So this was the item Jerry mentioned.
Yeah, it was it the number gun or something? I don't remember.
Number gun. Okay.
Kelly kind of looks.
He kind of seems to get distracted in the background, just trying different names, trying to see which one
Kelly
makes sense.
Kelly looks at the gun more closely. Making sure the barrel is still pointed away from her.
Mhm.
Even though it seems busted, who the fuck knows? But she takes a look at the quote gun. More carefully. See if she notices anything with it.
Number gun.
Well, I'd say you'd have to roll me a calculate to figure this thing out. All right, I'd say it's gonna. It seems to have. It seems like the area that got blown out, that kind of exploded whenever the thing was used, might have at one point been a similar but smaller version of the canister in the metal detector thing. So it probably used those same rocks as a power source, but then something went
Okay.
wrong and it blew up.
Okay.
As for what exactly it does, you're still completely in the dark.
Kelly goes into the office and see if she can spot anything that talks about the gun in some sort of fashion.
As you're looking around, Scruffy's gonna just lightly thump one fist into an open palm and be like, "Ah, that was just the penumbra gun."
The penumbra gun?
Pickle gun?
Yeah, penumbra. Or was it the umbra? I think he never really figured that one out, to be honest.
Mm.
We planned to call it one of the two, and I don't think he ever really settled on a name.
Kelly
And then it
proceeds.
kind of stopped being concerned after that night, so, you know.
Okay. Kelly looks to see if there's anything similar naming wise. Within
You
the
want? Go ahead and give me an investigate to check through the notes and such. All right, that'll do. You find a. I'm gonna say that if you get more than one for searching for these things, then you find like a journal entry. But if you are just getting ones, I'm just gonna give you the blueprint and what little's on it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So for that, you find the penumbra gun's blueprint and roll it out on the table so you can take a look. And it does indeed seem like it takes some of those weird, nice rocks as a power source, though it requires a slightly smaller one than the others due to the size of the container for it. But it seems like it uses some sort of type of technology that doesn't even seem human to change the state of matter in whatever it hits into something else. Though it's hard to say what exactly with the way the notes are written.
Trevor,
What's up?
come in here. Can you see if you can find anything on the shelf over there regarding to the gun here?
Yeah, well, but oh, okay, that's a thing. Alright, give me a sec.
Yeah, I have some blueprints here, but I want to make sure. I'm guessing nothing since Kelly already pulled out the.
Yeah, he doesn't really figure much out.
Okay. Kelly goes. Uh, um. You can take a look at the blueprints. I'm gonna do a double check on the
Make sure I
bookshelf.
was reading these things right.
Yeah, just double checking. So Kelly's goes from the blueprints she spelled out to the bookshelf again.
All right.
So I'm doing another. Yeah.
All right. You
Someone's
managed
happy.
to.
Go ahead, Risa.
You managed to find a journal that had kind of been hidden behind another book.
Aha.
You know, almost as though the person who wrote it didn't want to look at it anymore.
Mm.
But when you just like open it, it does. You know how books with a theme have a tendency to open right to the exact center of the book just automatically?
Yeah.
So when you grab it and you open it, it does, that. And it just so happens that what you were looking for was right there in the center. Where it
Hell.
talks about what happened that night.
Hella.
A few of the pages seem ripped out, but the parts about the penumbra gun seem to still be intact.
Okay.
It mentions about how he was going to take the gun and the gloves, go get Rosie, and go defeat something, try to send something back, or just otherwise remove some creature that had gotten into town because of his experiments. And then the next few pages are ripped out. And then the other page facing it talks of how the gun worked near perfectly. All except for an overcharge of the power source causing it to burst. And it talks about how the only flaw with its design, other than that, was a user error in that he was unable to aim it properly and hit the wrong target. And it's his fault.
Oh no.
And he would thereby be dismantling the gun
Kelly.
and not using and never again constructing anything of its type.
Kelly.
And the next few pages go on about essentially just a breakdown of he's not a hero. It's not his place to try and fight what he'd done when he should be focusing on undoing it. He shouldn't be continuing forward with his research and putting the town in more danger, moonlighting as some vigilante hero, when what he should be doing is simply undoing his mistakes and trying to fix the town, rather than pressing forward into the you get the basic
Kelly
gist.
kind of. If anyone's looking at Kelly at this moment, you would see her expression kind of change to that of, oh, of just this realization on why everybody was so down, that night. Not because they lost Rosie, but what exactly happened for Rosie to be lost.
Riley just has a very concerned look on his face when he glanced over at Color Lady. And then look over, across room, then back at the blueprints, and then back, trying to figure out what he should focus on more at this point. It was all very confusing to him.
Well, found out what happened, well, in the sense of that night. On why the gun came back as is, and what possibly happened to Rosie.
Huh.
Methinks not good.
No, it's not.
Oh no.
Hmm.
How you written it? A mishap happened while he was firing. He did hit a target, but it wasn't the one he wanted to hit. But my biggest question is, what are the effects of the gun? Kelly goes through the back, go through the front of the book. Seeing if there's anything that would tell her what were the effects of this gun.
You flip back a page or two, and you find the part where he had first started construction of the penumbra gun. And it talks about how he'd encountered some alien technology from his experiments with one of his other devices, and had attempted to, learn what it could do, and attempted to learn what he could do with it. He theorized about how perhaps it was half of a teleportation system, but without the other half, it wasn't really useful. There was nothing he could really do with it. So it had been, sitting stagnant in the office for a while, with him waiting and hoping that eventually, if he kept up his experiments, the other half of the teleporter would come through, or at least the parts he would need, that he thought he would need to make it. But rather than more alien technology, eventually he started getting what he would consider to be aliens, monsters coming through. And he instead repurposed that teleporter technology into a weapon, something that would remove the creatures but wouldn't necessarily give them anywhere to go, phasing them out but not phasing them back in again afterwards. And that was what the penumbra gun was. It was a teleporter in gun form with no destination and no way to bring them back after it sent them away. Do you keep reading?
Yeah, Kelly keeps reading.
On the next page, it would say what the exact visual effects of the gun are. When fired, the device fires a dark laser of sorts, a dark beam, which has a tendency to pull slightly to the left, but when making contact with an organic being, seems to simply remove them from existence, leaving nothing behind. However, when an electronic light is shined on the prior location of the creature, a shadowy figure appears, reliving the last moments of that creature before teleportation.
Oh, fuck.
Kelly just
Right.
kind of stops and just looks at Trevor.
What?
Oh God.
Riley would just tilt his head, unaware of the tension.
We know where Rosie was shot at.
We do.
It says how the gun's properties is it teleports someone. It basically if this gun shot hit someone, it would teleport them to whatever the fuck it took them, leaving nothing behind. But tell me if this does not sound similar to something we've encountered a few nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a something electrical signing down in the sense of things, like on it, a shadow of it would appear, showing the last few moments.
Shit.
Yeah. You see the situation, right?
Yeah.
No, I still have hope. Kelly looks through the book some more and stuff like that. Because from the sounds of it, from what I'm reading, it's just simply a teleporter. This gun was just a simple teleporter. So the possibility of Rosie still being alive, still being well, is still on the table. We just don't know where she went.
Huh. Okay.
Scruffy?
Hmm? He seems to have actually just kind of fallen asleep in his chair a minute or two ago.
Can I take this
Hmm?
book with me?
Well, sure. I mean, if Jerry's was more than happy to tell you about this place, I'm sure he doesn't mind too much.
Okay.
Just try to be safe and don't let those Badger or Weasel boys find out about any of this. Haven't had them come knocking yet, but I'm...
Yeah. We had to actually be careful of coming here. Because of those guys.
Woods.
Yeah. But Kelly puts the book in her bag.
Riley not being chased by animals, but then again, Riley not make ruckus in town.
There are more people that are named after an animal.
Oh. People animals. Anywho, what do now? No thing about gun, no thing about place. But not any closer
Kelly
to
looks at the
figuring
ruined
anything
gun.
out.
Yeah. Kelly looks at the ruined gun. And puts that in her bag as well. Scruffy, is it okay for us to come back here another time?
Well, sure.
Mm.
You'll just have to come get me. I'm the one with the keys to this place after all.
That's true. I just want to make sure you're okay with it.
Of course. He slowly gets up from his chair. He's like, I take it you are headed out then? Three of you?
Yeah, though Rylie seemed to have something with the blueprints that he had.
Blueprints are blue and interesting.
I see.
Okay.
I'd take one more stab at like putting all my focus towards this fucking thing.
All right. Take a roll for it, I guess.
What?
What do you?
Damn it!
Which blueprint were you even looking at right now?
I think it was
anyway?
still the one with the garage
Yeah. No, not the
or
garage,
the
but
car wash.
The car wash. Kelly comes
Keep in
up.
mind, if you have a luck point, you're able to re-roll it.
Let's do it. I'm doing it.
All right. Subtract 1 luck point and go ahead and give it a shot, I suppose.
Damn it! I hate
Nope.
this tech stuff. Why did you put me with this nonsense? It's
Kelly-
Ted's job, not me.
Kelly goes up and takes another look at the blueprint. Riley's
Riley
clearly
must be fuming at this point. He's like looking at this thing upside down, sideways, fucking 45
take-
degrees. He's got nothing.
Can I take a look?
If you want to
Fine.
do just another roll or whatever.
Calculate.
Yeah, it's still calculate because it's still a blueprint.
What the hell?
Damn it! You only have 4 dice. Literally every dice was a 6.
This is the equivalent of a nat 20 in this game, isn't it?
How dare you?
What the hell? Again?
I don't know.
Come on.
Lady Luck is weird with me.
All right. Fine. I'll tell you what it is.
Tell us. Give us the juice.
The thing is, I don't want to tell you everything, but I'm kind of forced to.
The dice decide your fate, master. You are stuck.
All right. So, all right. I'm questioning where I want to start. If I want to start with like what it was called, or things he's written down about what it does. Like I'm trying to think of where to even start with everything that you're about to learn about this thing.
Is it literally everything?
Probably. I mean, yeah. 3 successes would have been like everything except for like maybe the most crucial parts, but a four pretty much gets you fucking everything that was on the blueprint. So, because none of you were supposed to be able to get a 4. I mean, able to, but unlikely, you know? Like, what are the chances of getting all
Respawn.
6s with 4 dice?
Refund. This is
Yes.
me.
I know.
Lady Luck is weird with
I
me.
know. All right. How about this? Where do you want me to start? What things do you want to know about this thing first and foremost? What's most important to you?
Well-
We'll go from there.
We can start from the top in the sense of just because Kelly would probably just be starting from the top down.
All right. We'll start with that then. So there's a section that's kind of scribbled out, and underneath it says, "Bad name. Think of something else." But the name that this device or whatever has been given is very long and kind of dumb, which is probably the reason it got scribbled out, and he planned to make something better, but apparently never got around to it. This device is called the Teleporting Your Planet's Herd onto New Observable Worlds.
Huh?
What?
Okay.
Put it into chat.
Yeah.
You threw a curveball there, but you. So you pawned.
As mentioned, it is scribbled out and
Where did
immediately
you
under it
place it?
says
Oh, okay.
The chat in
Yeah.
the
in the
Okay.
roll 20.
Okay.
20.
So it, as mentioned, it has been scribbled out, and he just wrote under it "bad name." Figure out something shorter. But
It's frustrated sigh.
I don't want to say everything because I feel like it gives away too much. But we're here anyway. Honestly, you guys probably figured out most of this on your own and just didn't say anything. So
Yes.
as
'cause we
far
love
as you
keeping
can
secrets from each other.
which you can tell most of it, it seems as though he did manage to make a teleporter of sorts. It seems to be something capable of opening portals to other worlds, which is how he got his various bits and pieces of alien tech, and probably why the town has random alien things in it, including, various creatures and monsters that are now making themselves known for some odd reason.
Not Jerry's not Jerry's. It's not Jerry who released these things. It's Ted's dad. Because Jerry's the guy who's looking for Ted's dad because he's trying to fix this shit.
By the way, Hoagies, I do have your Twitch chat open because I realized that we do have an audience. They might have things now and again. But Luna has kind of figured out a thing here, so I'm going to type that in the Roll20 chat right now.
Oh my god.
The abbreviated is Typho Now.
Huh.
There's also a note on the blueprint saying that the portals that it opens do have a tendency to appear as twisters and hurricanes, depending on the size. Smaller ones kind of just look like dust devils, though a bit foggier.
Oh.
But all of them are accompanied with fairly large quantities of swirling wind.
Oh my god, Ted's dad got fucking taken to another planet. Continue? Continue?
Alright. I mean, that's most of the blueprint. There's the name, there's what he was using it for, and what it eventually ended up doing, and also the the exact appearance of what it does. But as mentioned, it does not seem to be here. I mean, it clearly states, in the blueprints that the way it's constructed, it needs to be attached to the car wash in order to work, because there's other, he needed a safety mechanism to make sure that others couldn't use it. And so it could actually detach from the car wash itself, meaning that you would need both halves to make it work. But the main half with most of the technology isn't here. The car wash is obviously still here, and it probably has its various bits and bobs still plugged into it. But the main thing that does all of it is missing. It's not here anyways.
Just a question. I can't quite recall whether or not Cully has heard about people saying how Ted's dad got caught up in a storm. And that's the night he disappeared.
I mean, yeah, people have talked about how one night during a horrible storm he seems to have just left town under cover of the storm.
Kelly just blankly stares at the blueprints and go, Trevor?
Uh-huh.
So I think we figured out what happened to Ted's dad.
Okay then.
So, this blueprint is kind of in the sense of a device that connects to this place, mostly the car wash, and makes portals to other places.
What?
Yeah, and here's the catch. These portals often look like storms.
And he went missing during a big storm.
Not good, yes?
Oh.
I say we go back to Jerry and tell him what we found out. To see if we can get some idea of some sort of thing. She rolls up the blueprints and how is this blueprint able to fit into Kelly's bag without popping out, without her having to fold the dang thing too much?
I mean, most of these blueprints are like poster sized. So you might have to roll it up or fold it a bunch. But you could probably with some amount of effort not to destroy it in the process. Fit it in
Kelly
your bag.
carefully folds it up.
Alright.
Just small enough for her it can fit inside her bag and it won't stick out like a sore thumb.
Alright, so you managed to fit the Typhon Now blueprint into your bag.
Okay. Scruffy, I think we're ready to go. We're gonna be heading back to Jerry and talk to him a little bit on this stuff.
Well, alright then. Make sure to say hi to him for me if you can.
Okay.
He just gives his thigh just like 2 quick patches. And Spike and Rex get up from their dog beds, shake themselves a bit, and follow along after him as he slowly ambles his way back to the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get over to it and he'd grab the remote for the elevator and be like, well, come on.
Kelly goes on, gets herself ready. Riley's already probably actually Kelly and Riley are probably already sitting on the elevator. You just need to wait for Trevor.
Riley's still calming down.
Yeah.
Trevor.
Elevator.
Yep, alright. So we're on the elevator. He presses another small set of buttons on that hidden panel on the side of the thing, and then slots the cover back on it as the elevator starts to rise. And again, it takes like a minute or two for the elevator to finish making its way all the way back to the top, where it kind of just slots back into the floor, and you could barely even, like, even knowing that's an elevator, you can barely even tell. And he pushes a button, and the big garage door opens up again, and there's nothing on the other side. No sudden like weasel guys or anything.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And he just presses like one more button on the remote and ambles his way out. Dog's following, and then he stands out there. He's like, "Well, come on, I gotta lock it up and such for the night."
Okay. Kelly heads out. What time is it in the day?
It's now gotten a bit late. Like the sun is setting. It's nearly nighttime.
Okay.
Seems you guys were down there for a bit longer than you thought, but you know that tends to happen.
Do you think we have enough time to go out to Jerry tonight?
Probably already in trouble for skipping school. Rather not chance it with a double hit of being out late.
Can do what I want, but up to you guys. If sleep is important, then yes.
I can. Again, parents still think I'm over by Mr. Henderson's. They probably think I'm having a really long. He's telling one of his extra long stories this time around.
Oh boy.
Yeah, one of the things you don't want to do when at his place, ask about the items in his house.
Not usually over by Henderson's house, so not really sure, but duly noted.
Yeah. I can. It shouldn't be a problem for me to go there.
Oops, sorry.
But yeah,
Huh? You're gonna be heading home then, Trevor?
yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Okay. I'm gonna attempt to see if I can go in, talk to Jerry a little bit, and head back home on my
Alright.
end.
Go with. Got nothing else to do tonight unless something happens, but don't think anything will happen.
Okay.
Alright. So Trevor's going home.
So Kelly kind of quickly goes past the road in regard to things and starts making her way
Just
to
up
the cave.
mountain.
Yep, there's
Yeah.
up the mountain to the cave.
Alright.
Riley will follow.
Riley's going with.
Riley will probably get lost along the way, but make it there.
Riley literally just has to follow right behind her, but
We made it.
he flipped again. Riley's having a good time. Riley's going to start to hit the end of the sugar.
That took a
If he
while
hasn't
for it to
already.
wear down.
If he hasn't already, that is, of course.
No, we getting there. He's probably gonna get tired and woozy, but he's gonna try to chug through it for the best of it.
Yeah.
Alright.
So we made it to the cave.
You have reached the entrance to the cave. Roll me a comprehend real quick, just as like a passive perception sort of thing.
Both of us.
As many of you as want, I suppose, of the two of you.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Either of you can. I don't care.
Go ahead.
If both of you want to, both of you can. But I'm not forcing it or anything.
Yeah.
Comprehend, right?
Yeah.
Comprehend. Yes, that's the one.
Damn it.
Nah, I don't really know.
Because Agent's not here, I've been getting shit wrong.
Can I do a roll? You know, I'm gonna do a reroll.
Yeah, sure, why not? It's nothing super important. I'm kind of just doing it so I can mention amusing things that are happening kind of in the background.
Ah, okay. I thought for a moment those Weasel
No,
guys.
it's nothing dreadfully important.
Okay.
I would save it then.
I would not spend your reroll on this.
Okay.
If you want just a free one, I don't mind, but
Nah, I'm fine. So we make it to the cave, and
you make it to the cave.
pulls out her flashlight, realizing Trevor never gave her the second flashlight.
Oops.
Never gave it back.
Eve!
It's fine.
I'll bug him for that tomorrow.
It's fine. He has a flashlight. You have a flashlight. It's all good.
Yeah.
But you have the flashlight. I'm not gonna make you guys roll to find your way through the maze because you kind of already did it once, and
Yeah.
you're also not in any danger.
Yeah.
Not this time.
There's no lightning crackling or anything of the sort happening. It's all very quiet.
Yeah. And we see the throne with
Right.
Jerry on it.
However, as you guys are making your way through the maze, give me one more set of comprehend rolls if you like. Riley gets 1, Kelly gets 2. You guys have noticed that there's an awful lot of snails in here now.
Heh.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I had to say. There's just a lot of snails in here now, surprisingly enough.
Huh. Okay.
Animals embracing.
But we reach the throne where Jerry sits.
Right.
And
Jerry's just kind of sitting there. I mean, you can see that his eyes are still active, but otherwise he's just kind of a skeleton still. Just kind of sitting there.
hey, Jerry.
I don't really respond, but he is looking at you.
Yeah. We did go to Scruffy in his junkyard. And we did find out some things. Kelly kind of goes in her bag and takes out the stuff. The journal, the gun, the blueprint. And actually, to make things a little more easier on, for conversation wise, Kelly.
You do kind of seem like look at each of the items as they sit there.
Yeah. Kelly takes off her gloves and puts them to the side, goes up, and touches the skull.
All right, give me a mind roll. See how much of you remains you.
Nope.
All right, he's kind of the one running the show now, as
Yeah.
with the last time and such.
Riley would just sit pretzel-legged and watch, just being quiet, knowing that.
So Kelly's eyes go yellow and her voice kind of shifts.
I actually want
a
to do
little
a
bit.
reroll. I want to see if I can.
All right, you want to spend a reroll on this? All right.
Yeah, because
Go ahead then. If you have a reroll left to spend, go ahead.
I haven't used any luck points, so I'm good.
All right, go ahead then.
So let me put that down to 1. And then mind again?
Yep, still mind.
Still
Nope.
nothing.
Fuck.
Still nothing.
I have 4 on that. I have a 4 on that.
4 is usually not a very high chance. The fact that you got 4 successes with 4 dice before was a fucking fluke.
Just you, my guy.
It was a little unfortunate for me potentially making things longer than they needed to be, but here we are.
But Kelly
Anyways,
is...
but you establish a connection. You can still speak, within
Yeah.
your own head, but Riley's only going to be able to hear what Jerry is saying.
Yeah. So, right, we've... As you can see, we went to the lab. And we found out some things.
I can see that you found his old journal, as much good as it is with all those pages ripped out,
Well,
along with the Typhon blueprint and
well, we kind
penumbra
of
gun.
figured, we kind of found out what that gun does. And what happened to Rosie and him.
Yeah, it was the night I quit.
Do you know exactly in the sense of things?
What it does?
Yeah.
Yes. I was there for his tests and experiments when he first built the thing.
Okay. Do you know what happened that night?
What he told me.
What did he tell you?
Told me that one of those aliens that his devices were bringing into the town was out there, that it could hurt people. He was going to take the gloves and the penumbra gun, go get Rosie, and go try to face off with the creature.
Mm-hmm.
After all, it was his experience that brought these things here, so he ought to have a team of skilled individuals who could fight them off whenever they appeared, so he could continue his research.
Yeah.
He was always one for superhero comics and such.
But did he tell you exactly what happened?
Yes. He gave her the gloves. She apparently was, well, quite good with them, to be honest. But he misjudged his ability to aim,
Yeah.
and in the heat of the moment, forgot about how it has a tendency to pull to one side when it fires.
Mm.
And while she battled the monster hand to hand, he fired, the beam pulled to the side, and he hit Rosie instead. According to him, whatever was left of her somehow managed to beat it back and send it into hiding. He certainly didn't run into it again, as far as I know, nor did the town. But he vowed to change his method of going about things, and I had no intention of working alongside him any longer, if that was the sort of future our endeavors were going to have for the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, I know what that the shadow boxer I mentioned before is now. Because,
I assumed, but
yeah, is Rosie's last moments.
yes.
Truthfully, I think she's still alive, and so
Might be some amount of her still in there.
Well, from the book, it says it's just a teleport way, in the sense of things. The gun, it simply just teleports someone away. Where they end up, we don't know.
As far as I can remember, the way it was meant to work, or the way that we theorized it was meant to work, was that it changed the occupant of the teleporter. Before it became a weapon, it changed them into a different state of matter, a different type of energy that we didn't know a thing about. Would then project them to the destination, and then that state of energy would be, well, undone, turning them back. So it's entirely possible that whatever it's turned her into is still entirely her, just waiting for the half we never got. The half that puts her back together.
Yeah. And right now, the only way we can actually see her is nighttime with the
Electric streetlights.
yeah. At one point, I was tempting on touch and see how Dick could make contact with the shadow using the gloves.
It was odd that whatever it was that gun really did to her, the gloves remained intact, simply falling where she had been.
Mm. Um. Also, I think Ted's possibly. I mean, not Ted, but his dad. Sorry, I'm bad with names. And I'm bad with last names, especially.
Mm.
But I think from the blueprint we found, the type. It was a blueprint that made the run-down car wash with one other item into a portal system.
The typhoon.
Yeah. Which the portal systems look like typhoons and storms and such.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just probably. And it didn't help that we heard numerous stories of a storm on the happening the same night as his dad disappearing.
Yes, that's where he went. I don't know why exactly, since I, lost contact with him.
What were you mainly hoping by using this place? I don't think I even asked entirely what is this place entirely is.
Well, it was, at one point, a ship. It turns out that when you start opening portals to random alien worlds, some of them notice and send people to figure out what's happening.
Hmm.
This ship once carried, well, some number of creatures who threatened the town, and all because of us. To our knowledge, we managed to beat them all back, dealt with in whatever way it took. But as ship it still remains, buried under the mountain as it is. I learned how to use it somewhat. Admittedly, the side effects were not for the best.
Seeing how you're stuck here.
Yes, it seems that the creatures that made it had a way of connecting to it mentally. The electricity, the energy that flows through this place, flowing through their bodies as it does the circuits, allowing them to become one with the machine itself in order to use it. Doing as such to a human body, unfortunately, tends to destroy it, though thankfully my mind has remained intact for the most part.
Hmm.
But as a ship, I've been using its star maps, its navigation systems, to try and figure out where he might have gone.
I'm guessing there's a limit to how far you can look about, seeing how you were starting to affect the town slowly.
The more worlds I try to check at once, and the farther away those worlds are, the more power it has to draw on. It is an old machine, though it is far beyond what anyone on Earth is capable of right now. It is still very old and its systems fail, and I'm unable to move about and maintain them, had I even known how. So, as time goes on, it continually requires more and more power. Thankfully, the metals in the ground, in the dirt around this mountain, help, well, they help reflect its power, they help amplify it.
Hmm.
But in the same way, that also means that they conduct the energy.
So you were using the ground as a power source. But in
Yes.
doing so, you were also spreading that electricity forward.
My first day here, I probably could have used the entire mountain as one giant satellite dish of sorts. As if I even then would have found him, and who knows what would have happened to the people had I done it.
Yeah. Is there anything else to the ship, or is it just this, what appears to be a throne?
As far as I can tell, this is pretty much the entire thing. Just one massive room with rows upon rows of electronics and control boards, dials and switches, buttons and lights, and one large throne from which to control all of it.
Mm.
We didn't really learn much about the creatures who made this ship. We only learned enough as to how to fight them, really. And even then, I can't say for certain how well we did.
Riley would just be sitting there contemplating, comprehending the ship itself, and wondering.
I'm confused by everything that's been going on. In some sense. Truthfully, I'm confused how I'm able to do this.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. I've never really come into contact with another person since this. I doubt it's normal for people to be able to do, but I wouldn't know otherwise.
Seeing how Allison got their arm tased? I don't think so. The factor I didn't even know this, and I'm sure you didn't because of your reactions on the factor the first night around when this first happened. Respawn, you there?
Yeah, I mean, hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, I'm here? Yes?
Yes.
You
Okay,
seem,
just making sure.
I thought you cut out.
No. He's mostly just silent at the moment. Also, Riley, you're contemplating the ship. From your memories of things, those odd memories you get sometimes, this ship has no real place in them beyond being a threat, beyond being a dangerous thing.
Sigh, and then just
Yes.
continue to watch the two interact. Maybe putz around with the gun a little bit, but not knowing anything about technology, he would just be clanging parts together, just praying and hoping something looks somewhat resembling something matching.
Mm.
Do you know what was that second part? To the blueprint regarding the typhoons.
That would be its main systems. The car wash itself acted as, well, a projector of sorts, an amplifier. But that main part was what did all the actual work. Ran calculations, generated power. By itself, it could create a few small openings in a relatively localized area around itself. But once attached to the amplifier that was built into the car wash, that's when it was more capable, when it was able to open much larger portals across, well, most of the mountain, to be honest. We never really found out what its maximum range was.
Mm. Clearly, you guys kind of stopped when things started coming out of those things that wasn't just metal or items, correct?
I mean, ever since he first released his first invention using alien technology, that was when he started getting attention. Because it was new, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
And then on and on and on. The Typhoon has gone through many iterations, even before I worked for him. It's just that the blueprint you have here was, well, the last one he ever made, as far as I know.
Yeah.
The last iteration. The one that by itself caused most of the problems around town. The earlier iterations were smaller, didn't open as large of gaps. Some of them even functioned only as windows, really, which he looked through to get inspiration for new inventions.
Mm.
But he got a bit power hungry, I suppose. He wanted more. He wanted to make new and greater things. So he kept improving upon it, making it bigger, making it more powerful, trying to create larger portals, ones he could reach through, bring things with him back and forth, in order to create more.
His mentality kind of changed after that night with Rosie. In the
Yes,
journey.
that would have been the wake-up call, where he realized that there was a price for what he was doing, and it was not one he could pay. He realized that he couldn't fight the universe while still keeping the door open for it. He had to close the door somehow. And not long after that, he disappeared.
I
And I,
guess he probably guessed that he could do something on the other side.
perhaps,
Seeing if he could find a way to find Rosie as well, maybe.
I can't say for certain what went through his head. I didn't talk to him after that night. I just know that he disappeared, and I started trying to pick up the scraps because whatever it was he did, it didn't seem to fix anything. Every now and then, portals still opened, and as you probably noticed, even now, the town is still plagued by things that who knows if they've been here since the first portals or have only recently arrived.
Yeah, though I don't know how to say we've been lucky to stumble on the more harmless things.
Mm.
Like the Mist Buffalo or the shadow of Rosie.
Riley would perk up when he heard like the talk of technology. I remember the conversation that Kelly and Trevor were having about how the stones were somewhat powering the technology, and he'd tilt his head and be like, if stone cause emotion, how handle stone you did?
You're asking how we were able to use them?
Mm-hmm.
Gloves and sunglasses, and moving very quickly.
Mm.
We did find that they were a very useful power source. Even this ship is primarily composed of whatever that metal is. It's why it can conduct their energies so well, whatever it is they use as a power source.
But
Honestly, that material alone could probably send the entirety of the world into a space age if enough of it could be harvested.
yeah, though I think possibly that this material's been around much more longer than you think. Because when Allison got in contact with it, um, at one point, it left a mark, though it faded away soon after. I did some research, and it's a mark that had popped in way back since like Greek times.
I don't really have an answer for that, unfortunately.
That's true. Then again, the gloves are pretty weird as well, seeing how he figured out that these things were also from it seems to be old enough from Greek times as well. And not only that, but it changes their appearance as time went on.
Well, perhaps they were the catalyst. I know that they were one of the first things he ever found.
Really?
Perhaps they were what inspired him to try and find a way into whatever lies beyond the stars. He never told me much about them, and they never really came up beyond that night with Rosie. But I suspect they were more important than he let on.
I might look around again at some point to see if we can find a journal or something about these clubs in this workplace. I just wanted to give you a heads up of what we stumbled onto.
Thank you.
It's no problem. And plus, I feel like you would probably appreciate at least some company to come in every so often and chat.
That would be nice, but I am trying to find a more permanent solution to my entrapment.
Mm. Um, we did notice a bunch of snails trying to form around inside this place.
Wildlife. Grow.
Yes, now that there's no longer electricity coursing at this place, it's safer. And I suppose with the fact that it is cold and dark here, they have full intention of moving in.
Is good. Gives purpose.
But I should be heading home.
Mm.
It is good to talk to you again, though. And
Yes.
we are going to be trying to help you out as best we can. And finding Rosie, finding Ted's dad,
Mm.
and seeing if we can fix this issue.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I'll do my best should you come by with questions, and
Mhm.
hopefully I'll be of more assistance soon.
Okay. Kelly, let's go with the skull. Well, no,
Right.
uh, she can't because she's not in control. But I'm guessing he lets go of the skull in a sense of controlling Kelly's body.
Yeah, he'll let you free.
Okay. Kelly backs up a little bit and picks up the items and put them in her bag again.
Color lady, okay.
Just mostly confused with things.
Very complex puzzle.
Yeah. With everything that's been going on, it's one big mystery puzzle.
Is it safe for us to find answers, though? Are we sure?
At this state, I think either way, we're gonna be encountering stuff. One way or the other. It's not really a matter of. Yes, we can find answers on our own, but in this state, I think it's only a win. The answers will come. With some stuff, at least. Because. Hearing Jerry, the pole. There are more things that still pop in here and such like that. And it could be easily. It can easily go chaotic. It can easily. It's a situation where we don't really have much of a choice but to look for answers for the situation that we're in.
Person skull talk about opening and closing door. What if open door again accidentally?
I personally think that door was never closed to begin with. I think that door is still open. It just, he went, one of the people that we're looking for just went through the door.
Metaphors weird.
Yeah, they are. Let's start heading back.
Go home, check on mom.
Okay.
Same with you?
Yeah.
Tomorrow school, yeah?
Yeah.
Most likely then see you weekend unless planning on not schooling.
There is still some time after school though. There is a certain point of the day we get all released from it. So we can still see each other tomorrow. It's just gonna be afterwards.
It's true. Question is, what next?
What we do next?
Hmm.
Truthfully, I don't know.
Ask Allison when find them. Leader lady know best.
Yeah, she acts more like a leader than anyone else in our group.
Troublemaker. You giggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Best go home.
Okay.
And with that, Riley would just sprint off out into the forest.
Kelly proceeds to walk home. Taking the forest side a little bit, just because of the stuff she has in her bag.
That's fair.
But
Do a lot and make it back to your homes just fine. I'm not. It's really gonna happen. It's late.
okay.
It's by this point quite late.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly enters the building.
Antique shop.
Hey, Mom.
Uh,
Hey, Dad. Henderson
you know,
told a very long story this time around. Sorry.
your mother just smells like, oh, it's all right. If you want, you can tell us about it over dinner. She says as she's busy closing down the shop for the night.
I'm gonna go upstairs and get prepared.
Right.
Kelly heads to her room, takes out the 3 items, and puts them in a drawer. But Kelly also...
If you're checking it through the, I'm assuming you're putting them in a drawer, like in the desk you have or some such.
Yeah.
You would notice on top of your desk is some blank homework that was not there when you left this morning.
Kelly just kind of smiles slightly, knowing that
Trevor, you would also notice the same on your desk. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Awesome.
Yes. If either of you ask one of your parents about it, they'll mention, oh yes, that one Russian kid from your school came and brought you the homework you missed today.
Hell yeah.
Oh wow.
James is your friend.
Yep.
He cares about you.
But, Kelly, after putting the stuff in one drawer, she opens up another and pulls out a folder. Opens up the folder and kind of sits on her bed looking at the series of odd pictures she has. Mostly looking at one particular one of a raging tornado. And she just kind of sighs and flops back in her bed.
We'll go ahead and, unless anyone else has any last moment things as the night concludes, or as the day concludes, we'll go ahead and end there, I suppose.
Hell.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was
I'll get the
something.
book. We'll divvy out some experience if you guys want to ask about anything, and then you can all just scurry off whenever.
Bruh. I want to do shit with James sometime. At some point, I want to hang out with the commie kid.
You do realize he gets bullied about it, right?
Huh?
You do realize he gets bullied about it, right? And he wouldn't appreciate you
I'm not
using that
gonna.
terminology.
No, I'm not gonna be straight up. I'm not gonna be a dick about it. But out of character, I want to hang out with that kid.
Oh my god.
James is a good kid.
Yeah,
He-
like I
he's
get
just-
it.
He's just sad that people see him as being, Russian and communist. Because remember, this is the 80s.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the 80s.
Red Scare.
The Red
People
Scare
are
and all
kind
that shit.
people are kind of racist against Russians, and he's kind of
That's not that
bullied
racist.
and sad about it.
Exactly. Listen, I think that'd be the perfect best friend for Riley. At least I hope so, anyway.
You want to know James's favorite thing? Superman.
I'm not surprised.
He likes Superman. He thinks
Isn't there like a
Superman's really
TV?
cool.
Isn't there like a something in DC Comics or it's like there's a video or a TV show or a movie or something of like a communist version of Superman,
There was.
like Red Sun or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Red
There
Sun.
was.
So like, damn, that only exists in the
Right.
80s. Dude would like be living the dream.
But yes, he even dressed up as Superman for the Halloween episode.
Hella.
Oh, apparently, speaking of Red Sun, apparently they're making a movie of it this year.
Seriously?
Because literally I just went to Google it to see when it first came out, and the first thing that pops up is, oh hey, 2020 movie. It's like, excuse the fuck?
Well,
Anyways, so did you participate in the session?
hell
Yes.
yeah.
Allison did not. Allison gets no experience.
Well, he doesn't even spend his fucking experience. That's the thing.
Apparently.
Apparently he
You
doesn't.
misused your experience.
I didn't mean to. Nobody explained to me how that shit worked.
Oh, it came out in 2003.
I'm lucky we talked about that so I could fix it and reprimand it because I did fix it this morning before the session.
What was wrong?
I thought each check point counted as an experience point for your skills instead of it counting up to an experience point.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so-
I fixed that. I've had to fix that.
Every
Basic-
5 experience can generate 1 skill point.
Ah,
Okay.
So yes, for every 5 experience you get, you can spend those 5 and get 1 skill point. But
Mhm.
moving on. So everyone participated.
Mhm.
Have you been in trouble because of your problem or your relationships? To be fair, there was not much trouble today.
I was gonna say no.
No.
I mean, mild inconvenience and taking a long way, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Today was more of a relaxed, like, question
so-
answering session than anything.
Yeah, so
Investigation.
this was basically none of us got the experience for that one.
Yeah, none of you really would. Because again, you guys did just solve a mystery last one, so I didn't want to do anything super intensive or like dangerous or whatever.
Mhm.
So I was not expecting you guys to get a full 5 this time around.
Hmm.
This is
Mhm.
more you guys just getting some time to like, find some answers to some things without really being in too much risk. And also, I just wanted you guys to meet Scruffy because he's honestly a very fun character.
Was there also the fact that there was?
He's
the
a very
sugar
sweet
guy?
old man with some very nice dogs.
Good dogs.
I didn't get a chance to mention it because it didn't really come up. But if any of you had looked in the window to see what he was like fiddling with while he was in the office when you first encountered him, he was putting together a model plane.
Honestly,
Nah.
I'm not surprised. That man's basically Santa Claus.
Way to the danger zone.
Oh my
He's a-
gosh.
He's just an old
Yes.
he's just an old guy. He visits the hobby shop pretty regularly, and he just likes making little model planes.
Bruh. I can
And as
see
ma-
him like fucking flying RC planes over the junkyard. I can see that.
With the dogs like
Yeah, chasing it.
trying to chase after it.
My God.
Yeah.
that's
No,
dope.
he's just a very soft old man. He's great.
Man, I'm gonna hate it when he gets killed in the
Let's
apocalypse.
continue the questionnaire.
Yeah. Include questions. Did you use or struggle with your pride?
That's a gray area for me. I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you learned much. So
Not learn, but basically.
I had a lot of struggles with technology today.
bet you did.
Kelly. Oh God, her thing is choice making. So
I mean, you were pretty decisive today.
really,
I mean, there were plenty of points where you could have done, about anything. You chose something to do and you did it.
okay.
So I'd accept it.
Not really.
You could have just straight up said, you know what? No, we're not going to the junkyard, or no, or like,
So yes on that
I'm
I'm
not
going to
point
go
feeling
along
for
the
me.
front of, I'm going to go along the front of the school rather than sneak out the back. I'll accept it.
Okay.
There are plenty of points where you could have made separate decisions, but you didn't struggle with doing so. You made decisions and you followed through with them. No one really put themselves at risk for the other kids, so that one doesn't come up. And now for the really fun one, especially considering everything that happened this session. Have you learned something new, and what is it? Who would like to go first?
Kelly gained a lot of fucking information on her side
Everyone
of things.
did. Everyone did. That's part of why this question's so fun. I want to see what the most interesting of the bunch that each of you have learned. Who wants to go first?
Aliens.
I'll accept that. Trevor, you have learned that. Trevor, you have learned that aliens are kind of a thing.
Just aliens. Oh my
I'll
god,
accept-
that movie was right.
You're
I'll
as
accept
crazy
that.
as Agent.
Really.
That is an out of character thing that you have learned. And that is
I was
okay.
about to say that's fucking true. Some days.
But yes, Trevor, you can experience. Riley or Kelly, if either of you want to discuss something you have learned.
Sugar is something that I will desire and crave on a consistent basis.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that. Give yourself an experience.
Hella.
I'm sure you.
Weakness.
I'm sure you understand.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
no.
It's not just due to the fact that you don't have much experience with sugar, but also due to some other particulars that you have just sugar is just a lot of
Yeah.
goodness to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know. I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm very much aware.
Yeah.
With Kelly, it's finding out about what could have actually happened with Ted's dad and Rosie.
Mhm.
That they're possibly in different worlds. And
Yes.
this current state of things. Because of the gun and the typhoons.
Yeah, that Ted's dad has most likely gone to a different planet, and Rosie has been half teleported.
Yeah, so. But, yeah, that's. But, yeah, Kelly finds out what happens to them, what the gun does, what the things have been going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will accept that, of course. Go ahead and give yourself a point.
Okay.
And then if any of you have 5 or more points, you are, of course, free to spend 5 of those points and up one of your skills by 1 point.
I still like the fact I got a 4.
Sometimes that shit just happens.
Bruh.
I mean,
Why
hey,
is
it's
it
like
the
the
one
time I
time we
punched the
we get
dragon in the
4? Is just the
face
one
and stuck
time
its mouth
Agent
closed.
isn't here, like to see this crazy shit happening.
I mean, hey, it's like the last actual D&D session I had where I literally punched a dragon's mouth closed, and it stayed that way.
Sounds about right.
uh,
Sounds about fucking right. All right.
we had glue, so I was given said glue, and it's like, let me just punch it in the face and see what happens. Oh, hey, I can't breathe anymore.
Sounds about right. Okay. Damn.
Our
All right.
bard had the crazy idea of trying to feed it a steak covered in like the fucking crazy magic, like ultra rare as fuck glue item thing you can find.
Flex glue.
Whatever the fuck it's, sure, we'll call it that. Hands it, and like they just hand it to me because I was an astral monk. So it's like, oh yeah, let me just punch it in the face. Oh yeah, it eats the steak and tries biting the arm, astral arm, so no pain, ha. And yeah, we glued a fucking dragon's jaw shut.
Sounds about right.
Fun chaotic days.
Anyway, you should probably thank the fucking chat because they've been here.
Yes.
Like Luna and fucking Dragon have been like laughing at our shit for the past 3 whole hours. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 hours is kind of the norm.
Pretty sure the last session actually ran a bit long because sheer info.
like
That's true.
3.5 hours last session, I think.
Your stream's been going on for 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 25 seconds and counting.
Something like that, yeah. Keep in mind, we were waiting for Oblivion for a bit, so the session itself was a
Oblivion
little
got taken by food, so we can't deny
Yeah,
that.
no, that shit happened.
The Venezuelan government came after him and his
I'll make a highlight of it, don't worry.
Yes, yeah.
I've been doing so for the last few times, like ever since the beginning, so, and also putting it on my YouTube.
It'll be a YouTube video, and it will have easy access for those who were not able to make it to the stream, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Agents is just gonna watch this and be like, "What the fuck?"
And this is where I do the big disappear.
Okay.
Poof.
Oh no.
I'm gonna stop my end. So,
Alright.
see you, viewers, and have a good night, good evening, whatever time it
Yeet.
is.